dialogue feels to some people very safe. Hey, it's just talk. For other people, it seems terrifying because it's like, oh no, what if I walk into kind of this rat's nest of an issue that I don't even realize that, someone says something or gets hot-headed or it can feel very scary, and it could be potentially an unwise step in certain scenarios. In terms of, is the community ready for a dialogue? What kinds of questions are we putting on the table? Have we, got the right facilitators? And so I'm just, are there, is dialogue always a good idea, or are there times or certain circumstances in which it's probably a next step but not a first step?
I think dialogue is scary for individuals, especially about difficult topics. And if your institution or an entity that's trying to convene it, you need to be ready because the deeper the underlying conflict is, the more the responses of people might bite you in places that you didn't expect. So it is vital to really be familiar with the landscape of the issues as they are perceived by a variety of people, so that so you got to do your homework essentially. You can't. Part of the whole issue is that we think we understand other people's perspectives, but we don't. And facilitators, conveners have perspectives too. So that's why diverse teams on different sides of issues are important in putting together a design for dialogic process, putting together a dialogue team, because we have to be ready for responses we might consider wild, stupid, crazy, unethical, or however we might consider that. From a standpoint of when you implement a community process, I think that the deeper the issue is, the more important it is to potentially do advanced work with communities that might be separated. And by communities also mean populations, right? People can be living right next to each other, but in a certain way different community. So the point is, if you're trying to get people to come together to talk across a social chasm, if you're trying to do that, you may not need to do a lot of prep work, but you might need to. You might need to let them know, I'm inviting you into this process that I think you have you can get a lot of benefits from, you can learn from. It might help us move forward collectively, but you might be challenged in that. It might make you think you'll hear things that you never thought of or think of people are crazy. So you have to have an attitude of openness in order to participate in that. So getting people, I think there is prep work that sometimes is important to do. You can't oversell it, because ultimately you want people to do your process. You want people to participate. You don't want it to seem so intimidating that they don't show up. But it is important to, sometimes it's important to that prep work, and then to have that prep work linked to ground rules you set up. This goes back to basic facilitation 101 about the importance of setting up ground rules and constructing them in a way that people both are invited to be their true selves, but also are in a stance of openness when other people are being their true selves and they can't believe what they heard. One common mistake is assuming that the differences are easily bridgeable. That people, if people have the right intention, they have the right intention on protecting children or community safety or you name it, racial equality. That if people just really have a conversation with their common intention, that's going to be fine. And people can underestimate the deep-seated nature of differences in experience and worldview. That's one problem. Another, related to that, you get design implications, how you design a dialogue, but you also get to facilitator preparation questions. And what is the degree to which people have actually worked through their own reactions to different people's reactions, their own anger at people in their own group or in different groups, and with the degree to which they're at risk for their issues getting raised, their anger getting raised, and therefore not being in a facilitative mindset. I think that this relates to the thing we talked about earlier. I think a common problem is people think that it'll be easy to go to solutions and action. It'll be easy because we're all good people with common intention, and we'll figure that out. But ultimately, because we underestimate the difference in worldview between us and other people and values, then what we think of as the easy, obvious solutions will not be easy and obvious. And so people are sometimes not ready to wrestle with the depth of our differences of perspective. So those are three that are common in this field. I think that related to that last one is people trying to not only think a dialogue action is easy, but then they structure the dialogue process to head toward that, and they don't make it a discovery situation. And and what can happen with that is that people are set up to believe we're going to be pursuing solutions collectively, when they might have had a reasonable exchange that they might have decided is healthy, but if they were set up to come up with some collective solution that we're all going to do at the end, and that didn't happen because the differences are so deep, then they become more cynical about the dialogic process, anything called dialogue, and don't want to do the next one. You've messed it up for the next guy who had a better attitude towards what a dialogue actually is. So that's a fourth problem.
Well, thank you so much. This has been really helpful talking to you about dialogue.
Thank you.